All right, good morning. I am Lieutenant Clark Pennington, Commander of the Frederick Police Department's Criminal Investigation Division and also the Public Information Officer for the agency. I want to thank you guys for coming. Before we get started, though, I do want to recognize a couple of elected officials that are in the audience. I know Alderman Kelly Russell from the City of Frederick and Jan Gardner, County Executive. Before I get started, I want to provide an update on the shooting of the investigation at Frederick High School. I'd like to introduce those individuals and those officials standing behind me. The lead investigator, George Garcia, co-lead investigator, Gene Alston, the interim chief of police, Patrick Grossman, the deputy chief of police, Richard Hetherington, the communications director for Frederick County Public School Systems, Michael Durer, and the Honorable Mayor Randy McClellan. Their names and titles will all be provided for you in the press packets. If you haven't gotten one yet, they'll be located at the back. This morning, I'm going to provide you with an update on the investigation, and then Chief Grossman is going to provide a few comments before we take any questions, so please hold those questions until the end. I'll start by saying that the investigation into this shooting is still active, it's still open, and it is still ongoing, so I am limited in the amount of information that I'm able to provide. That being said, we are pleased to announce the arrest of Brandon Earl Tyler, age 21, and Chandler Tristan Davenport, age 19, both of Frederick, Maryland. They have both been charged with crimes related to the shooting of Frederick High School on February 4th. On that day at approximately 8:11 p.m., Frederick police officers responded to Frederick High School for shots fired. Those shots fired occurred outside a basketball game. Officers quickly arrived and were able to determine that the shots were fired outside the gymnasium, but they were able to locate two victims inside suffering from gunshot wounds. The first victim was a juvenile male who sustained a gunshot wound to his leg, and the second victim sustained a gunshot wound to his back. These juveniles were treated on scene by members of the Frederick County Fire Rescue Service and subsequently transported to Baltimore, where they received treatment for their non-life-threatening injuries. These individuals have since been released. Officers from the Frederick Police Department, the Frederick County Sheriff's Office, Maryland State Police, ATF, the Frederick County Division of Fire and Rescue Services, they all coordinated efforts to ensure the safety of the occupants, render aid, and search for the suspects. No suspects were located in the school or on the school property. The investigation into their identity, though, took place immediately. Detectives George Garcia and Gene Alston were assigned as the co-lead investigators. These detectives, assisted by every member of the Frederick Police Department's Criminal Investigation Division and Special Operations Division, worked extremely hard over the past month and a half to develop probable cause for these two individuals that we've charged today. Detectives have interviewed over 300 individuals during the course of this investigation. We've executed over a dozen search and seizure warrants. And on Friday, March 20th, 2015, the Frederick County State's Attorney's Office presented information before a grand jury where the two indictments were delivered. The indictments charged both men with 4 counts of first-degree assault, 1 count of conspiracy to commit first-degree assault, 4 counts of use of a handgun in the commission of a felony, and 4 counts of reckless endangerment. The 4 counts for each the first-degree assault, reckless endangerment, and use of a handgun in the felony stem not only from the 2 juveniles that were struck, but also for a school employee and another bystander who were in their direct line of fire during the shooting. These individuals were forced to run and seek cover to avoid being hit. The Frederick Police Department would like to thank the Frederick County State's Attorney's Office for their constant hard work and counsel during the course of this investigation. We'd also like to thank our partners who responded on that day to assist in gaining order to a very chaotic situation. The Frederick County Sheriff's Office, the Maryland State Police, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, the Frederick County Board of Education, and the Frederick County Division of Fire and Rescue. Last, but certainly not least, we want to thank the members of the Frederick community who have been extremely patient, understanding, and trusting in their police department while we work through this extensive amount of information. As I've said before, this case does remain open, it is active, and there's still additional information to be collected and additional follow-ups to be conducted. We are asking, though, if anybody still has information about this shooting, to please contact the Frederick Police Department. They can do so in several different ways. We have a new smartphone app that's available. On that smartphone app, they can actually click on the tips button and provide us anonymous or identified tip information. Or they can contact us at 301-600-TIPS. And at that time, We will take their information and we'll follow up on their tip. That's all I have right now. I'm going to turn the podium over to Captain Grossman, the interim chief of police. He's going to say a few comments, and then we will take some questions.
Good morning, and thank you to everybody for joining us today. The shooting that occurred at Frederick High School on February 4th confirms the realization that Frederick is not immune to these types of incidents. We have seen and experienced from other nationally publicized incidents that scenarios such as this that occur at a school are not only heinous, but strike a nerve in all of us. We feel attacked, we feel the most vulnerable. Response to incidents such as this must be swift, and follow-up efforts must be relentless if we are to return not only the school system, but our community to a sense of security without complacency. Upon notification of the shooting, members of the Frederick Police Department were on scene in a matter of minutes. They were subsequently and almost immediately joined by numerous law enforcement partners from the Frederick County Sheriff's Office, Maryland State Police, and the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. The Frederick County Department of Fire Rescue Services quickly arrived on scene and filled a crucial role of not only patient care, but assisted with the coordination of a unified command. Through the efforts of first responders, both the school and surrounding areas were secured, and those located in the school were sheltered in place in order to begin investigative efforts. The daunting task associated with this investigation began with approximately 200 preliminary investigations, or 200 preliminary interviews on this evening alone. One of the many highlights of this investigation is the manner in which all partners shared information and resources. I would like to formally thank and recognize members of the Frederick County Board of Education who responded and worked cooperatively with law enforcement. The support of administrators, teachers, and coaches who were present proved to be a valuable asset as they provided a calming influence for staff and students. Members of the Board of Education have continued to work collaboratively with law enforcement throughout this investigation. Detectives assigned to the Frederick Police Department's Criminal Investigation Division have worked tirelessly throughout this investigation. There has not been a single day that has passed that the department has not worked towards bringing this investigation to a positive conclusion. All divisions in the department were called upon to assist with this investigation. Interdepartment cooperation was a mainstay that required analytical, technical, and operational cohesion. Through countless interviews, the service of search and seizure warrants, and the use of other investigative techniques, the detectives frequently consulted with the Frederick County State's Attorney's Office with a single goal in mind, and that was to hold those responsible accountable for their actions. Although we're here today to announce the arrest of 2 persons, this investigation will continue with the same intensity and focus as when it started on February 4th. We will continue to work with the Board of Education and our law enforcement partners to identify gaps and alleviate the fear of this type of incident from occurring within our schools and within our community. Thank you.
All right, we'll take a couple of questions, and please raise your hand and I will call on you, and I will attempt to get to everybody, please. We'll start here.
From the start, people were saying that this was gang-related. Do we know what prompted this? Was it gang-related, and do we anticipate additional arrests?
We do believe it has some gang connection, but this investigation is still open. It's still ongoing. As I said, we are still processing through the information. We did develop enough probable cause for these 2 individuals. We are still conducting follow-up interviews. As I said, we do believe it has some gang connection, but we're not ready at this point to definitively say it is gang-related.
Did you know about them right from the start? Did you know these 2 names?
That's information that I'm not ready to go into at this point because that's going to be brought out at the trial and during the preliminary hearing. So we'll start here. Scott?
A couple questions. 2 people charged for first assault. Were there 2 weapons used? Have the weapons been recovered? What are they? And can you characterize any relationship between the people arrested and the victims?
All right. Let's start with the weapon question that you had. We believe that 1 weapon was fired at this point. Okay. We believe that Brandon Tyler is our shooter. Okay. Chandler Davenport is a co-conspirator in this case. That's why he's charged as a principal also. Okay, so there is some information. We believe that Chandler Davenport was inside and actually, when he came out, drew those individuals outside, and that's when Brandon Tyler fired. Okay.
So they were clearly targeted, lured outside for some sort of...
That kind of brings me to your next question. Your next question was, is there a connection? We do believe there's a connection. We believe that they know each other or they're familiar with each other. And again, that's part of the investigation that we're still trying to link.
Finally, and it might be a better question for Michael, because we're talking about gangs and associations of people in schools, what is your characterization of the safety in schools right now as it relates to these kind of groups?
I'll let Michael step up here in a minute, but I believe that the cooperation that the Frederick Police Department, Frederick County Sheriff's Office and the school board that we enjoy, we think that we're putting together this environment for kids to learn in a safe environment. We believe the schools are safe. I'm going to turn the rest of it over to Michael if he wants to say anything. Would you like to?
I know our schools are safe, and I think that's a message that we need to make loud and clear for our community. The schools in Frederick County are absolutely safe. Gangs are not a school issue per se, they're a community issue. Our teachers, our administrators, all of our staff work every day to make sure our schools are safe, and they've done that successfully and they'll continue to do that.
Dave.
Where are these defendants from? Are there other suspects, and how many?
Okay, these two individuals that are arrested are both Frederick City residents, so they live in this community. This investigation is still ongoing. We still need follow-up interviews. We are still trying to identify other individuals that may have information, so I can't comment on any additional suspects at this time. Any other questions? Jeremy?
You've given us some indication as to how many people you were able to reach out to, how many people reached out to the department following this. Can you tell us anything about evidence collected at the scene? We saw a lot of activity at the school afterwards. It was closed for a day. Any other evidence you can give us that would point to how you were able to make these arrests?
Yeah, I'm limited on the information I can release right now because we are still conducting this investigation. It's still ongoing. I can't release the information or the evidence that we've collected. It's our policy. We don't like to put out that information, especially during an active and open investigation.
Do you have the weapon?
No, we do not. Back here.
The two other people who were in the line of fire, were they able to help identify the two suspects?
Any statements made by our victims or witnesses, we're not ready to release that specific of information. I will tell you, though, that the investigation has progressed. In the last month and a half, I know at some point some people had said that it felt like it was not moving quick enough. But this type of investigation with this amount of interviews, this amount of processing that needs to be done, not only of crime scenes, those type of things, a month and a half, we feel like we've moved this investigation along very quickly. And we're very proud of the efforts of every member of this police department, the cooperation we share with the Board of Education, and the cooperation we share with the Sheriff's Office.
How cooperative were the victims?
Again, I don't want to go into any statements that they made at this point.
Back to the young man who apparently invited or lured the victims outside. Is there some kind of beef here? Could you characterize what they were engaged in?
Well, I'm not going to go into the motive of this case, which is, I think, what you're pointing at here. We do know, or we do believe, I should say, that they know each other. They have some ongoing relationship, and they are obviously at ends. But I'm not going to get into the motive of this case at this point.
Where are
Back
the
here.
two that you've arrested right now? Where are they locked up?
They are located at the Frederick County Adult Detention Center.
And what's next for them?
Next, they will have a hearing this afternoon in Frederick County Court, where they will receive a bond from a judge. This is a grand jury indictment, so they have to go before a circuit court judge to receive a bond if they receive one.
What's your message to young people in this community? We've talked to lots of kids from our school. Everybody knows, not everybody knows everybody, but a lot of kids have been chattering about this. What's your message to them about being involved with these kind of groups and what appears to be going on?
Well, from a law enforcement perspective, I mean, these type of groups, we are going to aggressively find them, we're going to aggressively arrest them and prosecute them. I mean, that is our message, that if you get involved in this criminal activity, you can guarantee that in the Frederick Police Department, in this community, Frederick County, we will aggressively identify and prosecute.
What is the
Dave?
condition of the victims at this point? How are they doing?
The victims have both been released from the hospital. They are still recovering, I'm sure. I mean, it's only a month and a half from gunshot wounds, so I'm sure that there is some residual effects, but at this point, they have been released from the hospital.
Back in school? Back in school, yeah.
I can't answer that at this point. Jeremy?
We might have gone over this, just to recap. Do we have any idea, or are you able to tell us where these individuals were arrested? It was last night they were taken?
They were actually arrested yesterday afternoon. Mr. Brandon Tyler was arrested in Thurmont, and where he was employed, and Davenport was arrested here in Frederick City. All right, if we have no additional questions, you will receive, if you have not, a press packet at the back, and we will also provide you with hard copy photographs, color photographs of the individuals. I will send out our press release via our Civic Plus system, so you can get that on an email version, and in that email version, you will also receive copies of their photographs. So thank you all for coming, and have a good day.